You got like 3 feet of air that time. Can I try it really quick?
Hello there, it is Naz, and welcome to another episode of RT Essentials. This week we're putting an end to those debates where someone says, this is a Wes Anderson film, and you say, is it? That's right, these are movies that you thought were directed by Wes Anderson, but in fact were not. It's an honest mistake. I mean, Anderson is an auteur after all, so his work is easy to detect and even easier to draw inspiration from. Now, we're not saying these directors are just a bunch of clauses to a Steve Zissou. Anderson himself is the first to admit that he borrows from idols like Kubrick and Ashby. And these are just some irrefutable similarities we find fantastic and worthy of discussion. Amelie.
Nous sommes le 28 septembre 1997, il est exactement 11h du matin. À la foire du trône, à 2 pas de la chenille des Carpates, la machine à malaxer la guimauve malaxe la guimauve. Au même instant, sur un banc du square Villette, Félix L'Herbier découvre que le nombre de connexions possibles dans un cerveau humain est supérieur au nombre d'atomes dans l'univers. Pendant ce temps, au pied du Sacré-Cœur, les bénédictines soignent leurs revers. La température est de 24 degrés Celsius, le taux d'humidité de 70 degrés et la pression atmosphérique de 990 hectopascales.
Up first is Jean-Pierre Jeunet's romantic comedy Amelie, written by Guillaume Laurent and starring Audrey Tautou. Now, Amelie is the story of a young waitress who conducts schemes that alter the lives of the people around her, building a whimsical world of her own making. Now, these private escapades prove to be a distraction from Amelie's true quest for love, and soon she realizes she must take charge of her own life. Now, Jeunet pays tribute to the City of Love, shooting in over 80 Parisian locations and predominantly working with a cast native to France. Funny enough, whenever the film was shot on location, Jeunet and the crew would clean the area of debris, grime, trash, and graffiti so that the real setting would match the fantastically stylized nature of the film. Breathtaking work. So why are folks at parties saying Amelie is their favorite Wes Anderson film? Well, for starters, it's Amelie herself, the quirky and flawed protagonist that we're all rooting for. Name a single Wes Anderson film that doesn't have one of those. Hashtag Bill Murray.
J'ai comme ici le dos. Bravo, alors vive la France là, hein. Me plaît bouillanté, alors bravo. 20 sur 20, hein, 20 sur 20, hein. En plein dans le mille. C'est parce que c'est Amélie qui m'a dit.
And what about that vibrant set design? I mean, just like the Grand Budapest Hotel and the Royal Tenenbaums, it makes you just want to hop through your TV. But don't, because I've tried and it actually hurts. Many critics and film buffs do consider Jeunet to be Europe's equivalent to Wes Anderson, so I guess we'll let this one slide for now. Napoleon Dynamite.
Did you ride the bus to school?
No, I ride my bike.
What kind of bike do you have?
It's a sledgehammer.
Dang! You got shocks, pegs, lucky. You ever take it off any sweet jumps?
Next, we have Jared Hess's Napoleon Dynamite, the one that put Ligers on the map. Now, set in the small town of Preston, Idaho, the film centers around an alienated, mouth-breathing teenager who is having the worst day of his life, all thanks to being the preferred target of school bullies. Now, Napoleon's grandmother gets injured in a quad bike accident, so she asks Uncle Rico to look after him and his brother Kip, the cage-fighting stud who neglects his chores to chat online with babes all day.
Listen.
What?
Tonight, me and your aunt are going to go visit some friends, and we're not going to be back till tomorrow. We're getting a little low on steak, so I got Lyle coming over tomorrow to take care of it.
Well, what's there to eat?
Knock it off, Napoleon. Make yourself a dang quesadilla.
Fine.
And having a strange dance routine in the middle of all of this, though maybe not a typical Anderson-esque trait, is just hilarious. I mean, it may be just as dry and odd as any film by Anderson, but where it differs is in how far they're willing to go with their awkwardness, almost to the point of unpredictability. Not to mention, director Jared Hess had John Heater improvise the dance routine to 3 different songs. Then he picked the best moves from each and put them into one routine, and that is some next level talent.
Hey, Lyle.
Nothing on there works smooth.
So let's add this all up, shall we? We have an oddball protagonist who we've established is in every Anderson film, who is the target of bullies and sounding a little like Sam Shakusky, and cinematic shots like this one of Rico's 1975 Dodge Tradesman in a field, and even Anderson might think that this is one of his. It's an understandable mix-up, but this one belongs to Hess guys, not Wes. Captain Fantastic.
I am so happy that our family is together.
Thanks for putting on this feast.
It's all local and organic and non-GMO. So
How did you kill those chickens? With an axe or a knife?
I didn't have to kill the chickens. They're rotisserie chicken, so you buy it on it's already dead or cooked on a thing.
Written and directed by the dynamic Matt Ross, Captain Fantastic is the story of Ben Cash, his wife Leslie, and their 6 children who live off the grid, nestled deep in the wilderness of Washington state. Honestly, sounds cozy and like my heaven. Now, Ben and Leslie have instilled their beliefs in their children, such as thinking that all of Western society is fascist and that modern technology is not to be trusted. To paint an even more vivid picture, the family celebrates Noam Chomsky's birthday instead of Christmas. Now, in all fairness, Chomsky does currently look exactly like Santa Claus. I mean, it's uncanny.
Sarge just turned 8, by the way. The Bill of Rights.
Amendment 1. Congress should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of...
Stop. Regurgitating memorized amendments isn't what I'm asking for. Just tell me something about it in your own words.
It's not the Bill of Rights. We'd be more like China. Here, at least, we don't have warrantless searches. We have free speech. Citizens are protected from cruel and unusual punishments.
That's enough.
Are protected.
Now, thanks to their politically charged and sheltered upbringing, Bodavon, Kyler, Vesper, Relian, Zaja, and Nye display above average intelligence, but they lack basic social skills. Now, this becomes apparent when Ben is forced to take his children into the outside world for the first time following the tragic death of Leslie. Fun fact though, Matt Ross had the actors who played the Cash children sign a contract promising not to bring any electronic devices to set and to keep processed foods and sugars to a minimum, which again, sounds like heaven to me.
Always tell the truth. Always take the high road.
I know.
Live each day like it could be your last. Drink it in. Be adventurous, be bold, but savor it. Goes fast.
I know.
Don't die.
I won't.
Thematically, Ross touches on controversial issues like mental illness, suicidal ideation, think Richie Tenenbaum's infamous bathroom scene, and his peculiar portrayal of the family dynamic is quasi-Anderson. Still, just because fantastic is in the name doesn't mean it passes the West test. Submarine.
Essentially, I disapprove of bullying. Jordana, however, seems to enjoy it in moderation. I must not let my principles stand in the way of progress. I must be willing to adapt. This was the correct decision. This was one of those vivid memories of youth that I would cherish when I was old and frail.
Oh, cat straight into the hands.
Known for the Channel 4 sitcom The It Crowd, Richard Ayoade directs Submarine, a coming-of-age comedy starring Craig Roberts and Yasmin Page. Roberts plays Oliver, a Welsh teen in turmoil. Now, his love interest, Jordana, invites him for a secret snog after school, mostly to make her ex-boyfriend jealous, which it does, and leads to a proper beatdown. But that's the least of Oliver's concerns, for he's convinced himself that his sick mother, Sally Hawkins, is having an affair with her ex-boyfriend and recent neighbor, Graham. Now, Oliver, filled with rage and confusion, breaks things off with Jordana, decides to get drunk and vandalize Graham's home. Like most angsty teens, the stakes couldn't be higher, and Oliver believes that this is no doubt the end. And newsflash, it isn't.
The Bevans were having Christmas dinner early in case it was the last one they had. I hoped it wouldn't be, because the turkey was quite dry and the sprouts had turned mushy and out of focus.
This is cracking, love.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Mrs. Bevan.
This is my last warning. It's Jude.
So, I hear from my little girl that you've stolen a heart. Let me tell you, if you're lucky enough to find an angel, hold on to her with everything you've got.
Ayoade does find ways to separate his protagonist from the obvious comparison of Max Fisher. For one, Oliver falls for a girl his own age and is noticeably less self-involved. And Submarine does use flawed yet self-assured characters, much like in Fantastic Mr. Fox, but that's not strictly Anderson. Let's be Francis. It's the music choices drawing the parallels. Take this scene, for example, where Oliver pops in a cassette and curls up in his dreamy ocean bed. If this doesn't have all the finger-picking melancholic threads that weave through scenes like the one in Royal Tenenbaums, where These Days plays at the bus stop, then you can chop my hand and call me Margot. I know, it was actually her finger. Everybody relax.
Have you got the camera in the diary?
Do you have the pamphlet?
Give me the camera.
But in case that isn't enough, the film also features Tenenbaum star Ben Stiller in an uncredited role, and it uses distinct color palettes for each main character. Not as stealth as Submarine, nonetheless an excellent picture. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Who am I?
Mrs. Hamlin.
Right, Mrs. Hamlin.
I must be about 4. Oh my gosh.
Got a salad bowl, so I'm serving salad and string beans. Is he okay? And then Peanut, are you all right? God, honestly, I feel like I could clean up all day. Listen, would you hate me if I asked you to clean some string beans?
No, not at all. God, I love this kitchen.
Thank you so much.
She's not looking at me. She's busy. She's not looking at me. No one ever looks at me. I want my mommy.
Oh, baby Joel.
Next up, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, presented by an absolute dream team of talent. Writing by Charlie Kaufman, directing by Michel Gondry, and performances by Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet, Mark Ruffalo, and Kirsten Dunst. Only thing this film is missing is a Wilson brother. I mean, heck, we'd even settle for Andrew. Now, Kate plays Clementine, a spontaneous extrovert who, after a difficult breakup, undergoes a procedure to erase all memories of her ex-boyfriend Joel, played by Jim Carrey. Now, once Joel finds out about this, he decides to opt for the same procedure, and in turn, forget every woman he's ever loved. Is this procedure on Amazon Prime? Asking for a friend.
You erased me. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this in the first place.
I'm sorry.
You.
You know me, I'm impulsive.
That's what I love about you.
Now, the film is visually striking and intricate, and colorfully dances with themes of pain, love, and loss, and that is where the bridge from Gondry to Anderson gets crossed. One example being Clementine's hair shifting with her character arc, starting with green as she's first meeting Joel, then red amidst her romance, and then landing on blue as she's post-breakup and re-falling in love. Similarly, in the Royal Tenenbaums, Anderson uses bright red matching tracksuits to evoke the sense of urgency and paranoia that Chaz holds over his children's safety. Now, both directors use warm or cool tones depending on the emotional undertones of the scene, and they employ costume design as a storytelling device.
Do I know you? Do you ever shop at Barnes & Noble?
Sure.
That's it!
Yeah.
I've seen you, man. Book slave there for like 5 years now.
Oh.
Jesus.
I would thought I would remember you.
5 years? It might be the hair.
What might?
It changes a lot, the color. That's why you might not recognize me.
Eternal Sunshine is a prime example of an indie film that can rival the likes of Anderson with its beautiful cinematography, unexpected lead talents, and a convoluted yet awe-inspiring plot. And Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet really shine in their performances. Hard to imagine Nicolas Cage being considered for the role prior to Carrey, but maybe in some variant timeline. Now, you don't have to accept this as Gondry's, but let's make sure we're on the same page about that Daft Punk video. I mean, epic. Little Miss Sunshine.
What happened was I was a bit upset. So I said some things that I shouldn't have said, and I did some things that I shouldn't have done, and subsequently I was fired from my job and forced to move out of my apartment and move into a motel.
And that's when you tried to...
Well, no. Actually, all of that was okay What happened was 2 days ago, the MacArthur Foundation, in its infinite wisdom, awarded a genius grant to Larry Sugarman. And that's when I
decided to check out early.
Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris co-direct Little Miss Sunshine, written by first-timer Michael Arndt. We meet the Hoover family as they pile into a VW bus and book it to California, where their young daughter hopes to compete in the Little Miss Sunshine contest. Now, Dayton employs a cluster of eccentric characters very similar to those found in Anderson films. You got the overworked mother, played by Toni Collette, her type A husband, a son who's taken a vow of silence, a suicidal uncle, a heroin-snorting grandfather, and of course, the adorable Olive. I mean, what possibly could go wrong?
We're pulling over. I'm pulling over. All right, stop it. All right. Wait, stop. No, wait, sit down. God, this better be good. I'm pulling over. All right. Stop the car. Okay. It's gonna be okay. Open the door. Do not open the door. Wait. Stop it. Wait. Oh, God.
Now, the most obvious comparison comes from Dayton and Ferris's motif of family dysfunction, and how that dysfunction progresses in a confined space on a mission, much like the search for the jaguar shark in The Life Aquatic, and the Himalayan quest in the Darjeeling Limited.
Cheryl, it's Cindy. Remember when Olive was here last month? She was runner-up in the regional Little Miss Sunshine? Well, they just called right now and said that the girl who won had to forfeit her crown. I don't know why, something about diet pills, but anyway, now she has a place in the state contest in Redondo Beach.
And there's something about that bright-colored VW bus that screams Wes, or does it scream Hess? Screaming Wes, screaming Spicoli. Make up your mind, Naz, jeez. Lost in translation.
Does it get easier?
No. Yes. It gets easier.
Oh, yeah? Look at you.
Thanks. The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
The next entry in our Feels Like Westfest is Lost in Translation, directed by Sofia Coppola and starring Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. We travel to Tokyo with an aging American movie star named Bob Harris, who is there on business shooting a Suntory whiskey commercial. Now, Harris befriends a young conflicted newlywed named Charlotte, and the two find solace in their unlikely bond as they traverse the foreign city.
You want a whiskey? This is not whiskey, this is iced tea. If you gave me real whiskey. I need mysterious face. Tension is mysterious. Mysterious. I think I know what you want. You want this, right? I need more mysterious and
more mysterious, yeah. I'll just try to think, where the hell's the whiskey?
Okay, so this one doesn't really scream Wes Anderson, but it does cast Bill Murray as a flawed father figure akin to Steve Zissou. Now, the unlikely bond forged between Bob and Charlotte should feel familiar to all of you Wes Anderson fans out there. And like many of Anderson's trademark bad dads, Bob's lovability comes from his desire to be a better person. It really takes a certain kind of filmmaker to make seemingly undesirable people seem somehow likable.
How long have you been married?
Oh, thank you. 2 years?
25 long ones.
You're probably just having a midlife crisis. Did you buy a Porsche yet?
You know, I was thinking about buying a Porsche.
It's mildly safe to assume that any Bill Murray movie post-1998 involves Wes Anderson in some capacity, right? In fact, Coppola enlisted Anderson's help in convincing Murray to play the part of Harris. And boy, are we glad it worked, because the more Murray, the merrier. Oh, and when you spot someone at a karaoke bar in a pink wig, and trust me, you will, make sure you thank Scarlett Johansson. Garden State.
Got any suggestions?
What?
You got any suggestions?
Yeah, kick his balls. Kick his balls.
Yeah, but I don't want to, like, destroy future generations of charitable dogs.
No, don't worry about it. I get 3 Dobermans. If I didn't kick him in the balls regularly, I'd never get anything done.
Zach Braff wrote, directed, and starred in Garden State, a feature-length rom-com about a young actor named Andrew who returns to New Jersey after his mother passes away. Now there, he's confronted by his former life and the overbearing personalities he once sought to escape from. Andrew meets a cagey and often cringy musician named Sam, played by Natalie Portman, and the two establish a deep connection.
We're not gonna make out or anything.
What?
I'm sorry. I just totally ruined that moment, didn't I? No. It's just that we're not gonna make out, okay?
Oh, no, I hadn't planned on trying.
Oh my, I am so lean. That was really, I'm sorry. Forget I just said that. That's dumb. And
now, Andrew has all the self-absorbed delusions of characters like Eli Cash, fused with the withdrawn emo glaze of a Richie Tenenbaum. But Braff really hits the Jersey Turnpike and heads out west with his optimal use of classic rock songs such as Simon & Garfunkel's The Only Living Boy in New York, which plays during an intense makeout session. Now, Anderson is notorious for incorporating the songs he loved as a child into his work, such as Ooh La La by The Faces, Street Fightin' Man by the Rolling Stones, and Alone Again Or by the band Love, which might be Bottle Rocket's finest moment. Also, note to self, play classic rock during a makeout sesh. I Heart Huckabees.
Hey, don't start with that magic blanket bull.
It's not magic, it's just the way things are, Tommy. You and me in the air are actually tiny particles that are swirling around together. Look right here, you see?
Okay, but look at the cracks between these particles and the cracks we fall through, the holes of nothingness. Exactly, because that's what I just experienced upstairs.
Well, look closer. There are tiny particles connecting the larger cubes.
Yeah, and then tinier cracks between the connections.
And even tinier connections.
And even tinier cracks.
Yeah, but if you look close enough, you can't tell where my nose ends and space begins because they're unified.
I Heart Huckabees is an existential comedy, directed, produced, and co-written by David O. Russell. Now, it features a top-notch cast that includes Dustin Hoffman, Lily Tomlin, Jason Schwartzman, and I know what you're thinking, but it also stars Jude Law. Oh wait, Grand Budapest? Let's see. Mark Wahlberg. Well, he's definitely not in any Wes Anderson films.
Did you get it?
Yeah. I did, I felt it. It's hard to describe.
Very, very good. Your turn.
Now, Schwartzman plays Albert, an environmentalist who seeks to solve the meaning of a series of strange coincidences. Enlisting the help of investigators Bernard and Vivian, they conclude that Brad, a public relations manager at the retailer Huckabees, must be behind Albert's angst. Now, the most obvious nod to Anderson is Albert himself, who eerily feels like a future Max Fisher. And Russell's offbeat approach, his eye for detail, and his use of a capricious score from John Bryan make this flick dangerously Wessy.
So you sold out the woods.
This new mall is gonna be very eco-friendly. I saved half the trees. Did I sell out the woods? I don't know. I tried to do some good. You know, I saved half of them.
Brad, I torched your jet skis.
And my house?
No, just your jet skis. It spread to the house. I'm sorry.
But maybe the two directors have been mutually inspired by their close friendship in real life, or maybe Russell feels obligated to flatter Anderson after lying to him about liking the Royal Tenenbaums. Either way, Russell made The Fighter, and I mean, what have you done today? Harold and Maude.
Did you enjoy life when you were a child? Oh, yes, you were a wonderful baby, Harold. Do you think the sexual revolution has gone too far? It certainly has. Do you find the idea of wife swapping distasteful? I even find the question distasteful. Do you enjoy... Harold, please.
Last but certainly not least is Hal Ashby's dark comedy drama Harold and Maude, and what might be the oddest pairing in silver screen history. Step aside Gustav and Zero. Now, the plot centers around Harold, a death-obsessed 20-year-old, and his blooming relationship with Maude, an 80-year-old eccentric. Now, Maude teaches Harold to value his life and to see things from a fresh perspective, and yes, they go there.
Hello, Harold. Can I give you a lift? Oh, there you are, madam. Were you not the lady who drove my car off yesterday?
Was that the one with the St. Christopher medal on the dashboard?
Yes.
Then I suppose it was me. Get in, Hal.
Were you also the one who painted the saint
Oh, yes. How did you like that?
Well, I didn't.
Oh, don't be too discouraged. For aesthetic appreciation, always a little time.
Now, Anderson was 2 years old when this film was released, so there shouldn't be much confusion there. However, Ashby has left an unrivaled impression on Anderson's work, which can be seen in taboo storylines like Rushmore and music choices like Cat Stevens. Anderson even cast Bud Cort in The Life Aquatic, and once said in regard to Ashby's 1970 to 1979 films, "To me, they are some of the best movies ever made." Well, friends, that concludes our list of movies that you thought were directed by Wes Anderson. Don't worry, I thought they were too. But what makes a true Wes Anderson film anyway? Is it his rousing set designs like the Belafonte and The Life Aquatic? Or is it his tales from a youthful perspective like Max and Rushmore? Maybe it's his cinematic symmetry, clever composition, and theatrical blocking. Or it's his use of color, all that color, the reds and the blues, browns and yellows, pastels and khaki. Maybe it's Bill Murray. One thing's for sure, Wes Anderson is a visionary. That is him, and I am Naz Perez, and thanks for watching today's RT Essentials. Stay tuned, because we got some epic shows coming up. Oh, and don't forget to find something you love to do and do it for the rest of your life.